In some Native American traditions, they believe that souls of the deceased undertake a long journey along the White River, the Milky Way. Until reaching the great river flowing north to south, the river has to be traversed in order to enter the afterworld, and the only way across was upon a long log guarded by a being called Pukitapawa, or knock a hole in the head, later on interpreted as brain taker. So, when the subtle body tries to move, this imagery of the river is in every culture on the planet. So when the river, and the other aspect is, this Pukitapawa is a female deity who is alerted by a dog that if a spirit or a dead, a disembodied being is coming to cross the river, the Milky Way, then the dog barks. And she gets alert and she goes looking for them. Maybe with a stick like this, you need a stick like this to knock a hole in the head. There is already a hole in the head. In many ways, that is the knot which holds the pranamaya kosha together, so she knocks it off. Not for any bad result, it is just that you must be liberated right there. But people are afraid of liberation because liberation means non-existence. The only way one can be liberated is that you cease to exist, because existence is the bondage. Whether you are in a gross body or a subtle body, whichever way it is a shell and it's a bondage. So cessation is liberation. This may bring fear into people, that is what has brought fear into many people. They are afraid of this Pukitapawa, though she is coming to liberate them. But liberation is also permanent annihilation, which people are afraid of. So, how to pass through this? How to take this river or cross this river? Well, culturally many things have been said, but this theme about the river and the dog is there everywhere. In India, in the yogic culture, it is there. But I will not go into culture, let me speak from my experience and then talk about various cultures. See, in my personal experience, when you leave the body, depending upon what level of evolution you are in, how thin or thick your casing is, accordingly things happen. If something is, let us say, your casing or your bubble is too thick, it cannot break, it will go to the river and bounce back. What is the river? River is a stream of energy. A kind of energy which is neither life nor death, but a completely different kind of energy, which, for lack of words, we can say a kind of energy which saves you, dissolves you, so it is called as Vaitarni in Indian tradition. Vaitarni means it is a savior, one who is good at saving you. So what is the saving? It is not a physical river, it's a metaphorical expression, but there is a stream of energy. When disembodiment happens, naturally every being moves towards this river. Some will bounce back, some will soak in it, some will easily cross it. Some just dissolve right there. So, this all depends on various aspects. I will not really go into elaboration of that because we want to look at how these cultures everywhere looked at it in the same way, because everywhere there was somebody who experienced it, but then the culture started building a story around it in various ways. So here is Pukita Pava trying to knock a hole in your head so that you're permanently annihilated or liberated. In Japanese mythology, the newly deceased souls try to cross the Sanju River or the river of three crossings. That means three types of crossings are there. If you are a these are, like a little simplistic understanding of the culture, but fundamentally that there is something to cross is there everywhere. A bridge for souls who have done good things in their life, they can walk across the bridge. A ferry, if people were partially good and they can either pay to go on a ferry or wade through the shallow sections of the river, and a fee a fee has to be paid. Otherwise, these people will be stripped and made to swim across, and swimming across a deep snake-infested waters, if they are bad and they are forced to swim across the river, once a being swims across, a toll strips the soul of everything, and the weight of the clothing or the weight of the mass they have gathered will be will reflect the gravity of the sins or whatever bad things they've committed. So this is not in terms of good and bad, this is in terms of the strength of accumulation. How much accumulation one has. Well, to put it in technical terms, it is the karmic body, how strong it is or how small it is or how thin it is. In Greek and Roman mythology also, the newly deceased souls are ferried across the river Styx and divides the world of the living from the world of the dead, and there is a whole thing around that. Even there is a multi-headed dog that prevents the dead from leaving and all these things. Even in Egypt, similar things are there. In every culture it is there because in every culture, someone would have experienced it. From that experience when they speak, people make simplistic conclusions about it and make their own stories. The important thing is that clearly the culture knew that if you become available to a knock, if you become available to your knock, you could be liberated. It is being described as permanent annihilation. Liberation means just the same thing. Nirvana means just the same thing. In a way, they're talking about nirvana. In a way, they're talking about mukti, that if you get a knock from Pukita Pava, you're liberated, you have attained nirvana. Nirvana means you have ceased to exist, or mukti means you become absolutely free from the very clutches of existence. I've seen in the movies and things where Native American, for lack of words I'm saying, a graveyard or a thing is there where people's bodies are kept, and up on the sticks some ancient bodies are still there with the skeletons and other things hanging. Of course the birds have eaten up the flesh, but nobody is allowed to walk into this space. They're very, very emotional about this, nobody should walk into this space. It is possible that they maintain this like a spirit garden. It is possible to do that. In India, there have been certain things, but these days, anything beyond what very gross minds understand is illegal. It's all come there, unfortunately. But it is possible to maintain a spirit garden, that you maintain certain beings there so that it can be used for some positive work. It can be used as energy, it can be used in various sacrifices. And different sort of work can be done, different ways of bringing well-being in terms of health, prosperity, material well-being and spiritual well-being. For this, these energies can be used, but Kashi was one place where such things were done in a very massive way. But even there, now for everything you need permission, for everything a government official has to sign based on this, all these subtler processes or arts or sciences which are beyond physical body. Anything that doesn't concern physical material, unfortunately, is no more science. That's where we have taken the world, that if something has to be science, it must be A plus B equals C. If A plus B cannot be added or if you add A plus B, it just becomes one big A, they will not accept. But that is the nature of the existence, and it's fantastic to see that this level of exploration of life has happened in this land.